Thank you for joining us this evening as we celebrate my Papa, my dearest Papa's life. And we think about what he was to so many people. He was a man beyond one description. He was a man more than a singularity. He was someone to everyone and everyone to some people. He affected and made impacted lives through his journey. And when I thought of what I want to say this evening, I couldn't think of a single thing that I wanted to say, but I could think of a million things that I wanted to say. And if I was to say all of that today, it would take me the whole night, probably my whole life, because that's how he was. So I put down a few thoughts. They're really not even complete sentences because I can't complete full sentences just on what he was. It was just these are just small these were just small snippets of thoughts. So here it is, my thoughts. Beginnings, lasting beginnings, early childhood memories, stories, smells, breakfast sandwiches, small kitchen, always immaculate, best tiffin boxes for school, early mornings, smiles all along, cheering by the sidelines, travel, more stories, real people, life struggles, how people live, respect, respect, respect. Respect women. Women are our real gods. Principles written in stone, honesty, always the difficult path. Childhood again, showers, long showers, Sunday scrubbing down, oil massages, winter cream before sleeping. Travel again, tennis tournaments in small towns, Panipat, Yamunanagar, Pondicherry, Chidambaram, small, small towns. In each small town, local people, local cultures, always back to respecting people, always open, always listening, always keen to learn, always the first to give, every time the last to receive, always standing in line but last in line. Principles, unwritten rules. My tennis, running, my training, always in focus. Daily afternoons on the court, early mornings in the court, mid mornings on the track, daily bananas in the car, driving, work hard, humility in winning, learnings in loss, long train journeys, naming small train stations in every small stop, villages. Balaghat never took us there. Staring out of the window on long train rides, imagining what his village life may have been. Railway chicken curry, he loved them. Train rides again. Coromandel Express, Gitanjali Express, Bombay Mail via Allahabad or Gaya. All kinds of train journeys. Apparently, Kathgudam Express is romantic. Best packer, incredible use of space. All, all small spaces used, zero wastage. Everything immaculately packed. Everything in its own place. Everything in its form and everything in its function. Work, worship, perfection, textiles, materials, design, aesthetics, drawing from life, always drawing from life, making patterns, repetition, ornamentation, placement, everything placed as if it belonged there. Every action for form, every form for function. Fearlessness, incredible fearlessness, experimentation, always experimenting with his ideas, with his thoughts, with everything that came to him. An astounding sense of architecture, brilliant understanding of building things, construction, concrete work, brickwork, woodwork, carpentry, carving, details everywhere, everywhere in details. Weavers, printers, dyes, colors, lines, motifs, birds, animals, plants, fruits, geometry, pattern, script, folk art, incomparable discernment, aesthete, designing in everything. Home, care, love, central to life, central to living. Home built with heart, living legacy for us, present in our everyday, yearning for daughters, rewarded by daughters he loved, Julie and Priyanka. All partners, dancing partners, travel partners, conversation partners. Live life for small joys, celebrate everything, embrace everything. Loss, embrace loss as well. Heart as big as the universe, compassion, humanity, acceptance, always embrace loss for everyone, standing beside us all through the passing of Kanishka, smiling through it, yet deep in reflection, picking up, moving on, rededicating to new possibilities, thinking hours on mend, speaking a little, maybe, mostly introspecting, learning from loss, always learning, always shining bright. Love, rooted for love for Ma, a life filled with love, started from a small zero, a zero whose center is filled with love as it expands. Ma always comes first for everything, always doing things for her, small things, everyday things, acts of love, kindness, and love, and respect. Deep partnership at work, do everything together as partners, as parents, as relatives, and most importantly, as friends. Always building friendships between themselves and between whoever he met. Strangers become friends, lasting impressions. My Papa. Well, friendships that Papa made span generations and categorizations. One such person, and we're going to celebrate him through many people this evening. One such person is Bikram Ghosh, who's like an elder brother to me and Priyanka. Bikram has enthralled us over the years with his incredible music and has been part of every major crossroad of our family, as we have been with him and Jaya. With Papa too, Bikram had a special relationship, one of friendship and admiration for each other. Bikram will say a few words. Can we have Bikram's message, please?
Namaskar. It is very, very difficult to imagine that Raja uncle is not with us anymore. He had this unique ability of becoming one with people's lives. For the years that I knew him, that my family knew him, he was one of the most loving, affectionate, proactive, helpful people I have known in my life. Everybody loved him. I'm no exception. I admired him greatly as well. He had some unique qualities besides his professional prowess. As a person, he was so endearing, and as I said, always jumped into people's lives to help. It is impossible to imagine that he's not there, truly. Yet we are here not to mourn him, but to celebrate him. Which is why I've called Abhishek Malik, who has played with me several times for the family. In fact, I have performed for every major occasion of the family. So yes, because he loved my music, because he loved what we brought to his ears, we're going to play a beautiful rag, Charukeshi, which is very, very, at the same time there is a bit of melancholia, but it is a romantic rag, and we will play it as joyously as we possibly can under the circumstances. Raj Uncle, we love you, we will forever love you, and here's hoping for peace and joy wherever you are. We start with Charukeshi, Tal Rupak. Namaskar.
Thank you. That was just brilliant. What can I say? It was a heartwarming rendition of a beautiful raga. In addition to Man, Papa loved two people and favored them very much. He loved them both so much, and I often feel he saw in them friends of a different kind. As I said in my note before, they were partners in various ways for him. His daughters, Julie and Priyanka. I invite you both to say a few words.
Julie, you go
Hi,
first.
Priyanka.
Hi.
First, first, I'd like to thank Bikram for that beautiful raga. Um, as I was listening to it, I was thinking how fortunate we are to have you as our soundtrack to our lives. You've been there for all the most joyous occasions, and you've been there for all the sad occasions, and you've been there for everything in between. And I thank you for that, Bikram.
True.
I I've been here in New York by myself for the last 11 days, and I've gone through various stages of grieving for Papa. And on Tuesday of last week, I was walking on the river, and in my head, I was writing a letter to Papa. And I came home, and this is what I wrote. Dear Papaji, after hearing the news of your passing, I fell into a deep, dark, familiar place, a place where I was lost and clinging to the hope that I would soon be found. Losing someone as important as you makes me feel like I've lost yet another piece of myself. Today I walked along the East River, the way we did when you were here in New York last November. I tried to recall what we talked about: new ideas for drawings, future plans of moving into a new flat, and words of constant support. Then I moved back through time, thinking of all the trips we've made together, the amazing things our two sets of eyes have seen, the landscapes and waterfalls of northern Scotland, the killer whales and mountain peaks of Washington state, the Grand Canyon and surrounding national parks where you said you felt like you had landed on Mars, the forests of Kanha and the beaches of Puri, and so many more adventures we took together. It was like watching a carousel of snapshots. In every photo, you were smiling and full of joy, the joy of living life well. There are countless inside jokes and hilarious expressions you shared with me, and this allows me to smile through the tears running down my cheeks. The hours of sitting in your office and drawing together, you're praising me and encouraging me to reach for more and always helping me to get there. I wish I could thank you one last time for the strength and love you showed me after Kanishka died. I know it was incredibly painful for you, but you beamed that glorious smile on me, and I was saved by it every time. I feel like there are so many things left undone. I had hoped that I could learn more from your bottomless depth of knowledge. To spend an afternoon with you in a weaver studio was like getting a year's worth of education and a lifetime's worth of desire to learn more. There are so many places we still needed to explore, and so many life lessons I'd hoped to absorb from you. I've decided that the best way for me to honor your life is to continue with mine, to look for every adventure, to work hard through every challenge, and to find the joy and meaning in life that you so effortlessly seem to do. I named you Papaji. To me, it means father, friend, and teacher. I am grateful for you. I will love and remember you all the days of my life. Thank you.
What do I say? What do I say? Beautiful words, Julie. I know I think you speak for both of us. And there's really so, so much to say about a man this special to any of us in this virtual space of togetherness. But what do I say about the person who I've possibly learned every key lesson of my life? I met him when I was a teenager, I was 15. And really, from the very first day, again, like many of you who are in this room virtually, I was in awe. I was in awe of how he could make every single person he meets his own. He would touch every single heart with his endless kindness, his endless ability to give without expecting a thing in return. How in his simplicity and gentleness you never realize the great mountains he has had to climb, the various struggles of his life, the lows, the losses, the heartaches. You only saw light, a light that erases every sort of darkness, including his own. I lost my own father 15 years ago, but never felt as rudderless as I feel right now. I always had Papa. He filled that hard to fill void so easily in every step of the way. I have a million stories to share, but I won't share any tonight. He had every challenge covered. Every dream I or anyone else in the family dreamed, he made come alive, and every bit of this is true. He's always had our back. However ridiculous our ideas, through change of jobs, lives, starting our galleries, moving cities, various things that seemed quite impossible, his response was always the same. बहुत अच्छा बेटा, करो ना, मैं हूं तो. That बहुत अच्छा beta will always possibly ring in all our ears. The best grandfather, the best father, definitely the best husband, the best in all his roles. Truly, truly one of a kind. Death is a finality that each one of us will face. And it is the life that we have lived that we leave back to the ones who loved us. Papa's life is the biggest one I could receive. The million moments of learning I have had in the last 25 years with him, this will be my guiding light here on. What can I say? This is all I can say now.
Thank you, Pia. Thank you, Julie. Those were beautiful messages. And now to the two jewels of his eyes, his grandsons, Kavin and Kayan. The most valuable time I could give my sons is time spent with Papa. And although there was never going to be enough time spent with the Dadaji, they never wanted to leave him even for a second. We could not be more grateful to know that some of their formative years, through their most special moments, whether it could be of great highs or deep lows, were spent with their favorite Dadaji. They have both written letters to their Dadaji, and they will read it out to you now. Kavin, Kayan, come. Come sit.
I'm sharing a letter I wrote to my Dadaji a couple of days ago. Dear Dadaji, I wish you could read this letter yourself instead of me reading it to everyone present here. I think of the glorious life you've lived, of all the moments, all the way from stealing mangoes with your friends in Balaghat in your childhood to the idea and the undying effort you have put into Kanishkas, into us, into my Bappa and Jetu, into making Taji's life as special as it is. into being JT and Mama's best buddy, into all your friendships. It is all so special. I've never seen you angry with anyone or anything. You always have a solution to everyone's problems. Always creative, always loving. I still don't realize you've passed away. It feels like you've gone to maybe Banaras or Chennai or Hyderabad or for one of your many holidays somewhere in the world. I feel you'll be back soon. Kayana and I must be the luckiest grandchildren in the world. I love you from my heart and I wish I could have spent some more time with you. Carmen.
My grandfather, my Dachi, had a very amazing life. I remember all the stories he told me. Right now, I'm thinking about those many stories of what he did to get where he got. He started in a small village and then slowly he reached all of your hearts and mine. I know even though he has gone to the house of God, he has a little apartment in all our hearts. Hundreds of people love my Dachi, but he loved two people the most, my Dada and me. Even till his last minute awake, he was looking at our photo. I loved you, Dachi. I will always carry your spirit with me, forever and ever. Thank you. I would ask my mama to play a short video that captures a part of my Dachi's life.
Well, that only captured a little bit of his life. He was really incredible in many ways. And this video was made very beautifully and lovingly by our team who's managing all the back end. Um, we all know if you met Papa once, you would never be able to forget him. All our cousins had a favorite uncle. They called him by different names: Piche, Mesho, Notun Mam, but they all had one meaning: friendships, friends. They were all friends to him. My cousins will say a few words right after this. First up is Bhai Dada. Oh, sorry, Mishtu Didi can speak first. All cousins can be put their videos on. Um can all of my cousins who will speak this evening put their videos on, please? That's Badsha, that's Mishtu. Bhai Dada, can you put your video on? Okay. So you all you all meant so many different things to him. And I know that it's possibly not going to be enough to say that he was your favorite uncle, but we look forward to hearing a few words from you both. And
So, Baksha, do you want to go first?
No, you start करो.
Actually, Chotu, are you there?
Yeah.
I know he had joined.
He was there. He was there with you guys actually.
Yeah, he is there. I don't know. He's supposed to start this. Okay. So I'm going to actually speak on behalf of both my brother and I. My brother is called Chotu Shiladitya. He was there. I can't see him right now. Maybe he's dropped off. So this is something that we had written together, and we were supposed to read our parts actually. So some of it might, oh, Chotu, you're there. Yeah, Chotu, switch on. You're on mute, Chotu.
Hi, sorry about the slight technical glitch. Thank you all for saying such wonderful things about the man who I always call Dilip. Here's some of our thoughts. How far would I travel to be where you are? How far is the journey from here to a star? A star, that is who Dilip Piche was. The world has known James Brown as the hardest working man in show business. I say, move over, James Brown. Piche is the man. His breakbeat dance moves would give James Brown a run for his money. As Bikram said, we are here not to mourn the loss of a monumental man, but to celebrate his life, a life that he lived king-size. One of my earliest recollections of Dilip Piche was his keen interest in the game of tennis. His insurmountable commitment to ferry Jishu Dada and thereafter Rishu and me from the break of dawn till the end of day to every possible tennis club that existed in Kolkata was second to none. He was there everywhere, all the time. My real understanding of the star, Dilip Piche, came along almost 18 years ago at Jishu Dada and Julie's wedding. His omnipresence and composure made everything tick along smoothly. A sense of coolness prevailed everywhere he set foot.
He was the captain of a ship who would never shy away from rolling his sleeves, going down to the engine room to ensure everything worked well. His charm, coupled with his wit and the hearty laugh, won hearts all over. In fact, that is something both of us really shared in common, a hearty laugh. His kindness, humility, and his ability to make each and every one he interacted with feel really special, won him a lot of admiration from one and all. In July 2018, life presented the biggest of his challenges before both my Pishi and Pishe, when Jishudada Kanishka decided to move over to a place happier than planet Earth. It is hard for one to gauge the pain they went through, but they stuck by and healed each other, stayed strong and kept the faith, helping each other deal with an irreparable loss. Holding the family together was of paramount importance to him. From Popo, from my Pishi, who I call Popo, to Julie, who was thousands of miles away, to Kavin and Kayan, he glued his family together. On 17th November, he finally left the transit lounge and boarded a flight to be with his loving son and his peers. In doing so, he has left behind an emptiness that can never be filled. His life irreplaceable, his loss irreparable.
Let us all live the rest of our lives remembering him fondly, knowing his memories will bring nothing but a smile to our faces. If I'm able to be half the family man, father, partner, and friend as him, I would consider my time on earth well spent. Till we meet again, adios amigo. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bhai Dada, you want to say something?
My name is Bhai. Me and my sister Paklu grew up with Mashi and Mishal. I don't have any memories of Calcutta without Mashi and Mishal. But as I became an adult and went to architecture school, Mishu and I developed a different relationship. We constantly, whenever we're together, talked about buildings. I mean, all of you know him for his fantastic textiles and woodcuts, but I think his real love was building things, whether it's a chair, whether it's a corner of a house, whether it's a house. The house that he built for Mashi, he's been thinking about that for years before that. Every corner of that house, he has thought about. I remember talking about how to thicken the dining room floor so he could put the stone bases he was planning for the dining table. It's his last project, the apartment building he just finished, was absolute labor of love. I mean, we talked about it all the time. I was there once for just one day, actually less than a day. We seeked in a trip to the site visit, as he called it, just to be there, just to talk about it, just be together. Mashi didn't like that we were away for even one day I was there. My last trip to Calcutta, last December, I was supposed to leave in the afternoon and it was a busy day. I had to do a lot of things. But we planned to wake up early and go for a site visit. So we could the building was done, but we just chatted. On our way back, we stopped at a tiny kochuri shop because sometime during my trip, I must have mentioned kochuri. And my last memory of Mesho is two of us sitting on tiny moras in a dusty footpath, eating hot kochuri and the tiniest cup of tea and having the best time of our lives. That's my Mesho for me. Thanks.
Thank you, Bhai Dada. Badsha.
Hi everyone, good evening. This is Badsha. To me, he was Pishe. Of course, there are a few memories. I haven't jotted down anything, but there are a few memories, especially during Diwali. During the Diwali pujo, especially after the pujo, He was the one who used to go around putting the tika on everyone's hair and then tying the thread. And I always remember that I used to tell him that Pishe, I need the thread which should be the thickest. So he used to tell me, Dara, totta last day. After finishing up everything, then he said, now your turn. And he used to go on tying it, all the whorls around, and then finally he said, Ab hua, aur kitna chahiye? So it's a very trivial thing, very small thing. So the thing keeps coming back to me. And one more thing he told me, I remember that, and I think that's how he has led his life. He always used to say, wherever you are in life, you try and be happy with what you have done and try to achieve even better. But one thing, always remember that be always very humble and be gracious to your fellow human beings. I remember this chat. I think a few Diwalis back, he was. I think there were two, three other people also. We were sitting together and chatting. But he always used to say, "Be very gracious to your fellow human beings." Honestly, till date, I haven't come across a person who's never, at least I haven't seen, who's never raised his voice or even spoken even 0.001% ill of anyone. I mean, the way and he was always the go-to person for any sort of thing, for any sort of help, any sort of thing. He was so calm, so composed, and everything. I mean, the way he has from where he started, a self-made man, where he went. Many a times we see this. People have this. They have a little bit of airs and everything, but I've never seen a person who's always so grounded, so humbled, and so rooted to his values. I can go on and on and on. So I think I'll just cut it short here. So these are some of the memories which I have and which I think all of us shall cherish forever and ever, and once and in the days to come, in the years to come, forever. Thank you, Rishi. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, dear cousins. Thank you so much for saying such wonderful things about him. My papa made friends easily, and he really looked forward to his travels. Travels where he made incredible experiences, not just for himself and Ma, but for friends who were very close to him. He They had a gang, a gang that I call it a gang because they were a bunch. Looked like the bunch was literally handpicked by Upanita Mashi, who sadly can't be here today, but Priyanka will read out a little bit of a message from her. And they always had a blast that made amazing memories together. Upanita Mashi and Shumantra uncle, two dear friends of Papa's, were pillars of this group of friends. Many of Papa's unique facets, very unique facets, were revealed in these travels. I invite Priyanka to read out Upanita Mashi's little note, as well as Shumantra uncle, to say a few words. Priyanka.
Upanita Mash is a very good speaker, and her style of speaking is so special, Ma. I'm not sure I can do justice to what she wrote, and it's such a beautiful, few memories, but I'll try my best. She's titled it, Do Chote Se Bakse. She says, we have been travel buddies for quite a few years now, and we have so much to share about each other. One of our first holidays together as a group, I took a flight to our destination to arrive just before the Rajas arrived with just one objective, and that was to help them with their bags of the carousel. As it was to be, I met them at the carousel and asked Dada, Aapka suitcase kaun sa hai? Without looking at me, he said, Arey, do chote se bakse hi to hai. Main khud utha lunga. I know the size of the bags Indian travelers carry, so I did not budge. And suddenly, Dada bent down and picked up a bag the size of a small overnighter and then next a similar one. Now it was my turn to be surprised, and that surprise continued over the years. On our tours, he would be dressed in style. his fitted day casual trousers, a matching shirt, and a smart matching moccasins and cap. In the evening, it was a colorful shirt, shoes, jacket. It was different every day. All this came out of those do chote se bakse. All that he added to his attire was his glasses, his smile, and his love for all. The smile, of course, became laughter, and then the laughter became louder and even louder with claps as the evening rolled into the night. How on earth did he pack all these into those boxes? We wondered. And then we realized the artist at heart made a great job of mix and match with small twists, which only a creative person can do. I personally believe he chose to travel light so that his Babs could carry more. She had to look special every day and Dada loved it. एक छोटी सी कहानी बताऊं? At one of the airports, we were being checked for the size of small bottles in our purses and handbags. Few of us got nabbed with slightly bigger ones, just slightly. Nandita Di got stopped too. She was angry. They were expensive beauty kits. She did not want to lose them to some silly customs officials. So here was the scene. The officer took them out and kept them on one side of the back while we were talking loudly and protesting. And at the back, Dilip Da, casually through the crowd, don't ask me how, arrived, picked them all up and loudly said, Babs, ab choro aur chalo. We were angry. As we crossed the customs line, he casually took them all and put them in the respective pouches. Babs was pleased. In the afternoons, the travel buddies would be resting and Dilip Dada would be walking the streets of the hotel, peeping into the shops, looking at beautiful designs and structures around. I would often catch him wandering, apne hi dhun mein. One such afternoon in Zagreb, he saw me coming down the steps at the historic town center and he asked, Upanita, ऊपर क्या है? I said, बहुत सी दुकानें हैं और लोग रहते भी हैं. He asked, कैसी दुकानें? मैंने कह दिया, टूरिस्टी दुकानें, selling laces, scarves, handicrafts, trinkets. He said, चलो, देख आते हैं. That evening, we met for our evening adda and Mrs. Raja, who is often called Rani, in the group, walked in wearing a stunning artistic neck piece. I think it was Kavita who said, Nandita di, eta khub সুন্দর কোথা থেকে নিয়েছেন? রানী said, আরে বলো না, এই তোমাদের দাদা আজ দুপুরে কিনে এনেছে, কি যে করে. I was stunned. I never saw a shop selling this. Where I saw touristy, Dada saw artistry. He did not have to look for art. He found art in everything. He enjoyed his evenings with his friends, generous to the core, ever ready to participate. Try out new naughty night outs. Shekhar, Trideep or Amit just had to say, Dada, यहाँ क्या बोर हो रहे हैं? चलिए खुशियाँ देखते हैं. Or कि दादा होबे ना की. And off he would go, not looking back even once. Next morning, we would be waiting at the breakfast to hear what happened. And he would wink and say, यार, इससे भी अच्छी हमने देखी है. दिल नहीं भरा. मुट्ठियों में खुशियां, दिल में चाहत और छोटे से दो बक्सों में ढेर सारा प्यार लेके दुनिया घूमते थे दादा. जब पूछो तो कहते थे, एक छोटे से बक्से से ही तो शुरुआत की थी मैंने. It somehow does not feel right to say goodbye so soon to our dada. So we will instead say, we love you. You will always be a part of our traveling caravan. Thank you, Punita Mashi. Shumantro uncle, would you like to take over?
Thank you, Pia. Good evening to all of you. It's a solemn occasion today as we gather online to pay tribute to our one and only Dada and celebrate his life. Extraordinary times require extraordinary measures. Thank you, Pratik and Priyanka, for organizing this video event. My allotted time, along with Upanita, is 5 minutes, which makes my time between 2 and 3 minutes. You have to realize that Dada was a giant amongst men. To do justice to him will require 30 such 2-minute slots. So I will focus only on 2 facets of his persona: his humility, kindness, and caring, and his sense of humor. You know, Dada was an unknown entity to me till our travels started together some 9 years ago. Traveling together 15 days a year after year, is a lot of time to get to know anyone. And over the years, get to know Dada, I certainly did. 9 years ago, I saw this diminutive man in Gandhi glasses, wearing a big smile, hopping onto our coach with his Rani in tow. By the way, it was very clear that Rani was the one that was in charge. This gentleman, I told myself, is obviously much senior to all of us, and I must be deferential and be careful about the jokes I share with him. Interactions with Dada started with short exchanges of pleasantries, but soon evolved into animated conversations about life, families, values. It was instantly obvious to me how deep this man really was. His basic DNA was malice towards none, love for all. If a person he met had even one redeeming quality in an otherwise warped personality, trust Dada to spot that quality and build the relationship around it. He was non-judgmental to the core. Live and let live was his guiding philosophy in life. I have a decent collection of music covering various genres, and it was my responsibility to keep the group entertained on long-haul road trips. The inevitable debate between one group wanting Hindi and Punjabi, another group English, and a third subgroup Bangla would happen without fail. As soon as the bus would start to roll, Dada would be the first one to say, "Shumantro, kuch kaam to karo, gana chalu karo." And I would immediately follow instructions. He loved music, especially old Bollywood music, and he would listen to them eyes closed, deeply immersed, lost in his own world. I have always been a backbencher, even in the coach we traveled in. And from the back, I could see Dada's head bobbing from side to side to the beat of the music. He was having a whale of a time. My conversations with Dada over time got deep and personal. I listened to his life story in fascination, and my respect and admiration for this man grew in leaps and bounds. You know, most of us come from sheltered and nurturing childhoods. Yet, we dwell at length on any small adversity we may have faced. Some of us even carry it like a cross. Yet, here was this man who had nothing when he started life, nothing at all. He didn't know what life had in store for him or where his next meal would come from. He even had to wash cars to keep body and soul together. Yet he was so matter of fact about the hardships he faced. No grudges against life, no angst, no bitterness. His take: yes, I faced a lot of hardships, but life also taught me how to deal with it. What a beautiful perspective. Dada was kind. Dada was generous. And Dada was caring to a fault. I remember Mimi and I were in Croatia during our anniversary, sitting at a cafe with our travel group. Suddenly, Dada couldn't be found. Oh, by the way, this happened often with Dada and Nandita. Kavita was the designated Raja seeker in our group. She'd run helter-skelter and track them down and bring them back. But getting back to the cafe story, everybody was wondering where Dada had gone. Many surmised he must be on one of his secret shopping escapades. Suddenly, 10 minutes later, Dada surfaces with a huge, big anniversary cake. Now that is Dada for you. Always the right gesture at the right time to show he cared. And you know what? It required no planning on his part. It came spontaneously to him. Our trips will never be the same without you, Dada. Moving on to the second facet I promised to speak about, his humor. Dada had a wicked sense of humor coupled with a raucous laugh. The raunchier the joke, the louder the guffaw. And he could match anyone one-to-one when it came to raunchy jokes. When Shekhar, Dada, and Amit were together, earplugs were a must for any lady standing in the vicinity. Dada was a constant source of joy, laughter, and positive energy for our travel group. Dada woke up in the morning and put his smile on, much the same way ladies put on their face. That smile remained vibrant and infectious all throughout the day and required no touch-up. It came off only at night when he went to bed. Dada, wherever you are, you will make it such a happy place with your joy, your laughter, your love, your kindness, your caring. Their gain is our loss. We will deeply miss you. Rest in peace, Dada.
Thank you. Thank you, Shumantra uncle. And thank you, Punitamashi, for writing that beautiful note. One of Papa Ma's close friends is Gina Mashi. That's how we call her. And who called Papa her Dada and loved him dearly. Here's Gina Mashi with a few words.
Thank you, Pratik. 2020 has been a very rough year. It's been a very unkind year, taking many near and dear ones, many friends away from us. We lost many people that we loved. Some, of course, were expected, but many were not. Certainly, I was not prepared for Dilip Da's passing. When I got the news, I was so shocked. It was inconceivable that Dilip Da, I would never see him again, that he would not be there when I went to Konishko or when I went to their beautiful home, which I loved visiting. Nandita and Dilip Da's home, Nandita and Dilip Da's store. That Dilip Da wouldn't be there. That is something that just hurt so deeply. I was trying to remember, there's so many memories. I was trying to remember the first time I went there, to Konishko. I can't remember the date, but I know that it was while I was still acting. I was still an actor. And every time I had to go to a special place, Nandita would tease me that she comes and she buys her saris from me. Nishchay kothao ekta jawar ache Apurnar. So, but Dilip Da was always at hand. He always helped me choose the right saris that would suit me. He draped them on me. He showed me, and he would hand-pick the saris for me. And invariably, I ended up buying many more saris than I had meant to. not only because their collection of saris was absolutely wonderful, but also because Dilip invariably chose the ones that would suit me best, and it was almost impossible to leave them behind. Often, after I got to know them better, often I could not pay then, I had not brought the money. Dilip da would say, chhado to, tumi pore dio, kichu haben. And a lot of times he would even present saris to me, just when I'd gone to visit the shop actually to buy something. Along with the saris I bought, there would often be a gift from Dilip. Eta amra dilam tomake. Gradually we got to know them better and better. They came over to our house at our housewarming. We went to their beautiful home, and I loved roaming around, and I loved the way they had planned the house. I think it was largely Dilip and also Nandita, because both were very, very artistic people. And how the house was planned at various levels, how everything was chosen with the minutest care. Just like the saris, just like the prints. Everything was chosen with utmost care. And along with that, there was Dilip's smile, his affectionate, gentle smile. When he smiled, he felt, one felt that he was nurturing you. You felt he was nurturing you, he was nourishing you. Somehow you were nourished by the warmth of his presence. And I don't have a sibling, a brother. I don't have a male sibling. But somehow Dilip had filled that space of being my dada. I always thought of him as a dada. Nandita was my friend, is my friend, and remains Nandita to me always. But Dilip was always Dilip da. And I loved calling him dada because that's what I felt. I felt that he was my dada. And I can't even now think that when I go to Konishko again, when all this is over, when I go to their house again, Dilip will not be there. Somehow my entire being refutes that. I can't accept it. And truly I don't think that people we love and people who love us don't really ever leave us. They are there. Maybe we can't see them, but somehow their presence is there. And Dilip's presence will always be there when I go to Konishko. His presence will always be there when I go to their home. I know that he's somewhere, his eyes twinkling with his mischievous smile, and he's having a little private joke that we can't see him, but he can see us. Much as it hurts, I think one of the things that we must remember is that we were very lucky to have had him amongst us. I feel honored and privileged to have met and known, loved and been loved by a person like Dilip. And that is what I think we must celebrate above all. The man that he was, the good man that he was, the gentle, kind, nourishing, nurturing human being that he was. I feel that he's there amongst us, and I'm reminded of a song of Tagore's. But since I can't sing, I will just read out 2 or 3 lines of that song, which I feel kind of just befits Dilip. It's about how after I pass on, I will still be there. তখন কে বলে গো সেই প্রভাতে নেই আমি, সকল খেলায় করবে খেলা এই আমি, নতুন নামে ডাকবে মোরে, বাঁধবে নতুন বাহু ডোরে, আসবো যাব চিরদিনের সেই আমি, আমায় তখন নাইবা মনে রাখলে, তারার পানে চেয়ে চেয়ে নাইবা আমায় ডাকলে। দিলটা তোমাকে ভোলা তো সম্ভব নয়, তোমাকে মনে আমরা চিরকাল রাখবো, কিন্তু আমরা জানি যে তুমি আমাদের মধ্যে আছো, কোথাও একটা আছো, কোথাও একটা আছো। তুমি আমাদের দেখছো, আমরা তোমায় দেখতে পাচ্ছি না, কিন্তু তুমি আছো এবং তুমি থাকবে। এটাই আমার মনে হয়। তুমি যেখানেই থাকো ভালো থেকো দিলীপদা, শান্তিতে থেকো। আর আমার কল্যাণের আমাদের সমস্ত ভালোবাসা তোমার সঙ্গে রইল। তোমার ভালোবাসাও আমরা প্রত্যেক দিন প্রতি মুহূর্তে অনুভব করব। ভালো থেকো দিলীপদা।
Thank you, Rina Mashi. To many of you, she's Aparna Sen. To us, she's Rina Mashi. As many of the previous speakers have said, how much he loved music. Music was often a constant companion to him. And often on Papa's birthday, the evening would be spent in this home where we are right now with some mesmerizing music. Rani Mashi and Shreya sang at this home last. Rani Mashi is by our side and she'll join us. And Shreya will join us from afar. And I will now invite Shreya and Rani Mashi to come.
আমি আজকে এখানে আসার আগে যখন নন্দিতা দি আমাকে বললেন যে তুমি একটু কিছু বলো, তখন আমার যেটা মনে হয়েছিল যে বলো আজি গাবো গান কোন সান্ত্বনার, এই কথাটাই আমার মনে হয়েছিল। যখন অনেক বড় বড় ঝড় আসে নন্দিতা দি, আমি জানি না তোমাকে সত্যি কি বলবো, কিন্তু যখন খুব বড় বড় ঝড় আসে, তোমাদের জীবনেও এসেছে, তখন অনেক কথা, অনেক শব্দ, সেগুলো কিরকম মনে হয় যে অর্থহীন, কোনো যেন তার মানে নেই, এরকম মনে হয়। কিন্তু আমি তো সন্ধ্যে থেকে এখানে বসে আছি, যখন থেকে এটা শুরু হয়েছে আমি দেখছি যে সত্যি একটা মানুষ চোখের সামনে নেই, কিন্তু সেই মানুষের জীবনটা এত বড় মাপের যে সত্যি সেখানে কিন্তু ওটা মানে শোক করার জায়গা নেই, সেলিব্রেট করারই মতন তার জীবন, এবং তাই করছেন তার বন্ধু বান্ধবরা। আমি একটু সম্পর্কের কথায় যাই, কারণ সম্পর্ক জিনিসটাকে নন্দিতা দি আর দিলীপ দা এত বড় করে তুলেছেন, সেই সম্পর্কের কথায় আমি যাই। অনেক দিন আগে, 50 বছরেরও আগে সময়ের কথা বলছি, আমি তখন স্কুল বোধহয় পাশ করিনি, কিংবা হয়তো পাশ করতে চলেছি, কলেজে যাব, এরকম একটা সময়, শাড়ি পরবো, সেরকম একটা সময় আমার মনে আছে মায়ের সঙ্গে আমি এসেছিলাম এই বালিগঞ্জেরই দুটো রাস্তা এরকম ভাবে রাইট অ্যাঙ্গেলে গিয়ে মিশেছি, আর সেই কোণে একটা ছোট্ট বাড়ি, সেখানে বোধহয় তোমাদের তখন প্রথম সংসার বোধহয় সেখানেই শুরু হয়েছিল না? হ্যাঁ, সেইখানে এলাম, এবং সেখানে এসে আমি দেখলাম যে রং আর ডিজাইন, নকশার একটা একেবারেই অন্য রকমের মোড়ক। তার আগে যেরকম ভাবে দেখেছিলাম শাড়ি, এখানে এসে একেবারে একটা অন্য জিনিস দেখলাম। কিন্তু ওই শাড়িটা, সেদিন শাড়ি রইল, আস্তে আস্তে ওই শাড়ির রং আর নকশার মোড়কে কিরম করে জানি এই সংসারটার একেবারে অন্দর মহলে গিয়ে ঢুকে পড়লাম। সেইখানে তখন শাড়ি আছে কনিষ্কতে, তো আমি তো কোনো বাঙালি জানি না, কোনো ভারতবর্ষের খুব কম লোক আছে যারা কনিষ্কর শাড়ি পরেননি, কিন্তু কনিষ্কর শাড়ির সঙ্গে সঙ্গে কনিষ্কর সঙ্গে সম্পর্ক তৈরি হয়ে গেছে এরকম যে কত হাজার হাজার লোক, সে আর বলতে পারি না। এবং সেই সম্পর্ক যে কি গভীর, এবং সত্যিই মনে হয়, শুধু আমি বলে না, সকলেরই আজকে যারা যারা এখানে আছেন সকলেরই নিশ্চয়ই এটা মনে হয় যে কনিষ্ক একটা পরিবার। সেখানে খুব সুন্দর হয়তো শাড়ি আছে, নিশ্চয়ই আছে, কিন্তু তার থেকেও যে সুন্দর সেটা হচ্ছে সম্পর্কগুলো। দিলীপদার সঙ্গে সম্পর্ক, নন্দিতাদির সঙ্গে সম্পর্ক, একটা অপূর্ব পরিবার, এবং ভীষণ কাছাকাছি এসে যাওয়া, এবং এই বছরে বছরে সেটা যেন আরো গভীর হয়েছে। যখনই এসেছি
নন্দিতাদি যখনই যেখানে থেকেছে, তুমি যখনই যেখানে থাকো, নন্দিতাদির একটা খুব উজ্জ্বল পরিস্থিতি, মানে খুব একটা উজ্জ্বল উপস্থিতি। আর দিলীপদা আমি দেখেছি একটা নেপথ্যচারী মানুষ, যেন এক গাল হেসে এসে দাঁড়াবেন একটু নেপথ্যে, এসে খুব নরম করে দুটি কথা বলবেন, কেমন আছো বেটা, কি কি খবর, অনেকদিন দেখি না, দুটো তিনটে কথা, কিন্তু সেই যে কি মিষ্টি কথা এবং সেই যে একগাল হাসি, তখন যাকে কথাটা বলছেন তার মনে হবে দিলীপটা তো ভীষণ লাভিং একটা মানুষ, সবাইকে ভীষণ ভালোবাসেন, কিন্তু আমাকে বোধহয় একটু বেশি ভালোবাসেন। এই কথাটা কিন্তু প্রত্যেকের মনে হবে, আমি ডেফিনেট অ্যাবাউট ইট, যে এইটাই হচ্ছেন দিলীপদা। আর এই যে ওয়ার্মথ, এই যে আন্তরিকতা, এই যে ভালোবাসা দিয়ে এত বড় একটা বিশাল পরিবার নন্দিতাদি তোমরা সৃষ্টি করেছো তোমাদের সৃষ্টির জগতের বাইরে, সেখানে আজকের জগতে দাঁড়িয়ে তোমাদের যে কত বন্ধু, কত স্বজন, কত পরিজন তোমাদের ঘিরে রয়েছে, তার সত্যি কোনো সীমা পরিসীমা নেই। অন্ধকার ঝড় উঠেছে নন্দিতাদি, আমি জানি, কিন্তু তোমরা যে ধনে ধনী, এই যে মানুষকে এত ভালোবাসা, সেই যে ধন যার কাছে আছে, এরকম মানুষ তো কমে আসছে, ক্রমশই কমে আসছে, কিন্তু এই ওয়েলথ যার কাছে আছে, কালো ঝড় উঠলেও তুমি সেই ঝড়ের কালো মেঘের আরো অনেক উপরে উঠে যাও নন্দিতাদি। সেইখান থেকে তোমার ডানার তলায় তোমার অনেক বন্ধু বান্ধব, তোমার অনেক স্বজন, আমরা সবাই তোমার কাছে রইলাম এবং চিরকাল থাকবো। দিলীপদাও আমাদের সঙ্গে রইলেন এবং আমরাও দিলীপদার সঙ্গেই আছি, ছিলেন কথাটা দিলীপদা সম্বন্ধে আমি বলতে পারছি না এবং বলবো না। আমি একটা রবীন্দ্রনাথের কবিতা বলি, নন্দিতাদি শুনতে ভালোবাসেন আমি জানি, আর দিলীপদা আমায় সবসময় বলতেন যে তোমার কবিতা শুনতে আমার খুবই ভালো লাগে। যদিও সন্ধ্যা আসিছে মন্দ মন্থরে, সব সঙ্গীত গেছে ইঙ্গিতে থামিয়া, যদিও সঙ্গী নাহি অনন্ত অম্বরে, যদিও ক্লান্তি আসিছে অঙ্গে নামিয়া, মহা আশঙ্কা জপিছে মৌন মন্থরে, দিক দিগন্ত অবগুণ্ঠনে ঢাকা, তবু বিহঙ্গ, ওরে বিহঙ্গ মোর, এখনই অন্ধ, বন্ধ করো না পাখা। এ নহে মুখর বনমর্মর গুঞ্জিত, এ যে অজাগর গরজে সাগর ফুলিছে, এ নহে কুঞ্জ কুন্দ কুসুম পুঞ্জিত, ফেন হিল্লোল কল কল্লোলে দুলিছে, কোথারে সে নীর, কোথারে সে তীর, ফুল পল্লব পুঞ্জিত, কোথারে সে নীর, কোথা আশ্রয় শাখা, তবু বিহঙ্গ, ওরে বিহঙ্গ মোর, এখনই অন্ধ, বন্ধ করো না পাখা। এখনো সম্মুখে রয়েছে সুচির সর্বরী, ঘুমায় অরুণ সুদূর অস্ত অচলে, বিশ্বজগৎ নিঃশ্বাস বায়ু সম্বরী, স্তব্ধ আসনে প্রহর গণিছে বিরলে, সবে দেখা দিল অকুল তিমির সন্তরী, দূর দিগন্তে ক্ষীণ শশাঙ্ক বাঁকা, ওরে বিহঙ্গ, ওরে বিহঙ্গ মোর, এখনই অন্ধ, বন্ধ করো না পাখা। ঊর্ধ্ব আকাশে তারাগুলি মেলি অঙ্গুলি, ইঙ্গিত করি তোমা পানে আছে চাহিয়া, নিম্নে গভীর অধীর মরণ উচ্ছলি, শত তরঙ্গে তোমা পানে ওঠে ধাইয়া, বহুদূর তীরে কারা ডাকে বাঁধি অঞ্জলি, এসো এসো সুরে করুণ মিনতি মাখা, ওরে বিহঙ্গ, ওরে বিহঙ্গ মোর, এখনই অন্ধ, বন্ধ করো না পাখা। ওরে ভয় নাই, নাই স্নেহ মোহ বন্ধন, ওরে আশা নাই, আশা শুধু মিছে ছলনা, ওরে ভাষা নাই, নাই বৃথা বসে ক্রন্দন, ওরে গৃহ নাই, নাই ফুল সেজ রচনা, আছে শুধু পাখা, আছে মহানভ অঙ্গন, উষা দিশাহারা নিবিড় তিমির আঁকা, ওরে বিহঙ্গ, ওরে বিহঙ্গ মোর, এখনই অন্ধ, বন্ধ করো না পাখা।
Shreya, do you want to say something? See.
My association with the Raja family has been ever since, I don't know, ever since I can think back. Nondita Mashi and Dilip Mishu are very, very close to my heart. She is, of course, like a second mother to me. And Dilip Mishu, whose infectious smile people were talking about, truly resonated every time I saw him. Sometimes it was in their store, sometimes it was in their house. But that smile was only one of a kind. The last time I met Dilip Mishu was again under very strange circumstances. It was a day of bereavement. They had just lost their son. And I didn't quite know how to face them really. I was physically in Calcutta at that point of time with my family. This time, Dilip Mishu is not in front and I cannot even talk to you, speak to you, but I know you are in my heart. Nondita Mashi, I love you and you know that. Pratik, Priyanka, and everybody in the family means so much to me. It's sometimes difficult, to express such grief through words, and I'm not very good at that. Especially there have been a lot of stalwarts who speak so very well and beautifully. I will try to resonate my thought and my feelings through a song, none other than Tagore himself. It's a very favorite song. I know Nondita Mashi loves this song. I will try to sing that. মাঝে মাঝে তব দেখা পাই চিরদিন কেন পাই না মাঝে মাঝে তব দেখা পাই চিরদিন কেন পাই না কেন মেঘ আসে হৃদয় আকাশে কেন মেঘ আসে হৃদয় আকাশে তোমারে দেখিতে দেয় না মোহ মেঘে তোমারে দেখিতে দেয় না মোহ মেঘে তোমারে অন্ধ করে রাখে তোমারে দেখিতে দেয় না মাঝে মাঝে তব দেখা পাই চিরদিন কেন পাই না ক্ষণিক আলোকে আখির পলকে তোমায় যবে পাই দেখিতে ওহে ক্ষণিক আলোকে আখির পলকে তোমায় যবে পাই দেখিতে ওহে হারাই হারাই সদা হয় ভয় হারাই হারাই সদা হয় ভয় হারাইয়া ফেলি চকিতে বাসনা মিটিতে হারাইয়া, পলক না পড়িতে হারাইয়া, হৃদয় না জোড়াতে হারাইয়া ফেলি চকিতে, মাঝে মাঝে তব দেখা পাই চিরদিন, কেন পাই না, কি করিলে পল পাইব তোমারে, রাখিব আখিতে আখিতে। ওহে এত প্রেম আমি কোথা পাব নাথ, এত প্রেম আমি কোথা পাব নাথ, তোমারে হৃদয়ে রাখিতে। তোমার সাধ্য কি বা তোমারে দয়া না করিলে কে পারে, তুমি আপনি না এলে কে পারে হৃদয়ে রাখিতে। মাঝে মাঝে তব দেখা পাই চিরদিন, কেন পাই না, আর কারো পানে চাহিব না, আর করিব হে আমি প্রাণপণ। ওহে তুমি যদি বলো এখনি করিব বিষয় বাসনা বিসর্জন, দিব শ্রীচরণে বিষয়, দিব অকাতরে বিষয়, দিব তোমার লাগি বিষয় বাসনা বিসর্জন। মাঝে মাঝে তব দেখা পাই চিরদিন, কেন পাই না, মাঝে মাঝে তব দেখা পাই চিরদিন, কেন পাই না। দিলীপ জেঠু, তুমি যেখানেই থাকো ভালো থেকো। You will always be deep, deep in our hearts, in my soul. Love you.
Thank you, Shreya. That was so beautiful. Both Rani Mashi and Shreya, Mother has passed on such beautiful genes to you. And thank you so much for waking up so early in the morning to prepare for this. Really touched. Thank you. And Ma saying with the Konishko Shari also.
Of course, of course.
Thank you.
Bhalo theko Nonita Mashi, lots of love.
So, people who love textile had a special part in Papa's heart. He loved discussing his creations with them. Some of them, like Ina Mashi, has been visiting Papa every time she visited Kolkata, and for many years when she was in Kolkata in her young years, even a time before her wedding. Ina Mashi, please, I would love for you to say a few words.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Pratik.
You on Ina Mashi.
Priyanka, all of you have been in my hearts, of course, goes without saying. It feels a little surreal this evening because just last month, Dilip da, Nandita di, and I we were having a conversation about how to celebrate Konishko's 50th anniversary, and that was when I spoke to Dilip da last. He had so many plans, he had so many ideas. Eta korbo, beta, eta bhule jao na. And in a way, it was a continuation to celebrations from the silver anniversary year, because 25 years ago, we had an Odissi dance recital to mark Konishko's 25th anniversary. And perhaps that was when I realized that Dilip Da was really, he was hands-on with everything that Konishko did. Here was Shobila Bishash and this beautiful Odissi recital that we planned, but Dilip Da was there organizing who's going to do the music, Mridango ke bajabe. The whole arrangement was something that he was coordinating and doing it with us that morning. My personal relationship, not even an association with Dilip Da, goes back to many, many years. Mitul Mashi was a very dear friend of Nandita Di's and Dilip Das. And Mitul Mashi and my mother, when we just moved to Calcutta, I was perhaps 13 years old, we had gone to Konishko. And it was my first Pujur Shari. And I won't forget because it was so special. I think the people in Konishko is what made it such a memorable experience. And that is something I believe is still the case. The faces remain, the people who are helping there, the girls who are there in Konishko, they remain unchanged. And it's because Dilip Da and Nandita Di have made them a part of the Konishko family. But since then, my visits to Konishko have been so regular. Nothing in my life happens without Dilip Da knowing about it, whether it's my son's marriage or anything special. When I won the national award, it was important for me to ask Dilip Da, what sari should I wear? Dilip Da, this is a very big moment in my life. And today I feel that, going back to Konishko and just walking through to the back office, I can't believe that he won't be seated there with material around him, jottings, drawings, talking about different saris that have come in. I met him this February and we spoke about the new saris that he was planning to make. He had given lots of weavers new patterns to make this winter, but we didn't know that 2020 would turn out the way it did and that we would lose Dilip Da. And in a sense, it's a personal loss. And I'm just braiding together these memories because it's difficult to talk about Dilip Da in the past tense. But he has been so special, and personally for me, he's been a mentor. I think the reason I love textiles as much as I do, it's because Dilip Da taught me about textiles. I came to know about the different motifs, the patterns, the saris, only thanks to Dilip Da's patience. I was then a very young girl, but he took time to explain to me the difference between the Upara and the Garhwal from Andhra Pradesh or the saris from Orissa. All of this is stuff that I've learned from him over a period of time. But most importantly, what I saw and what I learned from him is the way he treated people. For him, the weavers were people he was closely associated with. For instance, for the 25th anniversary, we had Pitobash Meher saris, which he had specially woven for that occasion. And Dilip Da had known Pitobash's father. He'd worked with him. And it was only recently that I learned that Pitobash he'd fallen unwell, he'd had a stroke. Dilip Da had worked with Pitobash and continued to work with his family. So the weavers weren't just, faraway people. They were families. Dilip Da was intimate with people he knew closely. He discussed ideas with them. He encouraged them to create new things. And for me, that is the most important lesson to learn. The fact that, you are working with weavers, but beyond that, each and every person is a person with whom he has a relationship or he had a relationship. And that is something I thought was wonderful. And it's going to be a deep loss, I think, for the weavers' families, for the people who've known him, for, of course, his family, but for people like us who are on the periphery, perhaps. But We learned so much from him. And my heart goes out to all of you, and Dilipda, wherever you are, you will be missed and you are deeply loved. This is one thing. You know, he had this wonderful sense of humor, and sometimes I would joke with him and say, Dilipda, আপনি জানেন তো ওই উৎপল দত্তর জয় বাবা ফেলুনাথের সিনেমাটাতে উৎপল দত্তর ঠিক ওই রকম করে আপনি বাংলাটা বলেন. And he would just start laughing. He laughed very easily.
Thank you, Inamashi. Thank you for saying such beautiful words about him. He really held you in a special place. Papa deeply admired beauty and grace. There was something uniquely aesthetic in the way he worked. I think he imagined elegance and grace when he created his saris. Nandita Pal Chaudhary, possibly epitomizes that grace for him. Nandita Di has been a supporter for Kanishkas for many years, but she's also much, much more to my papa. Nandita Di, please, would you like to say a few words?
I'm sorry, Prateek, that today I'm not epitomizing any grace and looking anything special. But today I just want to recount a short kind of episode that has revealed itself to me very recently. Our children, Ahuna and Poppy, met Dilipda once for 1.5 days, more than 20 years ago in Shantiniketan, in Shelimashi and Utpal Misho's house. I think it was the holy time because I have a few photographs where I can see unrecognizable children smeared with color and Dilipda sitting in the center of them. Now, when I heard of his passing, I was in the tea gardens, and I mean, it was just something that I couldn't get my head around. So I called them to tell them about the news, though I expected they probably would not remember him. But I was absolutely shocked when they reacted exactly like everyone who heard the news and said, oh no, not him, he was so nice. And then they started to tell me why they thought he was so nice. Not only had he played Holi with them as if he was a classmate, he had taught them some very interesting and important moves in Ludo. He had taught them how to use a hand pump. And best of all, he surprised them along with the 2 children of the caretaker to say bye-bye to them at the station. Who does this for 2 completely unknown children who he had just met the day before? I mean, it's just unfathomable. Now, if I think of it, pragmatically, coming outside of the shocking loss one feels at his leaving, I would say that he was over 80. He lived a very, very full life, covered in love and respect from everywhere. He exited like people dream, quick, painless, with no fuss. But then there are people like us, who are unsatiably greedy, want someone like him to be with us forever. And I think the anguish of his loss would be absolutely not an inch, an iota less had he gone 10 years later or even 20 years later. I'm just glad from the bottom of my heart that I experienced him, that one learned that it's possible to be a human being like him. And I'm the most glad and happy that he had the family, or he still has the family, that a man like him deserved. I don't think anybody could have loved him and revered him the way I have seen Priyanka, Pradeep, and the 2 fantastic boys that they are bringing up love him. The way Julie speaks about him, I hardly knew Konishko, but I'm sure it would have been the same. And Nandita Di, of course, their love story is legendary. I'm just so glad I knew him.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mukadi. I don't have any words to really express how beautiful that was. Graceful as ever. Every morning, early morning, he would make himself and Ma a glass of warm lemon water and don his very stylish beret cap and head out to CCFC, the Calcutta Cricket and Football Club, his second home, where he made some of his best friends. Most of them were much younger to him and many older as well, but he made friends that he could share many of his funny innuendos and anecdotes with. There was a dailiness in going for that walk early morning at CCFC, and he looked forward to it every morning. I'm sure even the friends who were there, who are still going there, and who will remember him, miss him as well. I'm going to ask Rita Mashi, who's a dear friend, to speak about Papa. Rita Mashi? Rita Bhimani, Rita Mashi, please, can you come on?
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you and see you perfectly
Oh,
well.
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Pratik, it's been such an amazing evening, and you and Priyanka have curated it so beautifully. I think Papa would have been so very proud of the way you carried it all, and uh, it's just filled my heart with all the tributes that one has heard, all the music, all the singing. I just have a few verses which I have done in tribute to Dilip, the dynamic, dashing Dilip, the darling of us all. And in celebration of this evening, I am wearing a very vibrant Kanishka sari, which has these amazing happy birds that are flocking all over it, something that obviously has been designed by him and executed with elan by Nandita. So here goes. Your absence is a time for us when we do genuflect to all the qualities you've possessed on which we can reflect. There's nothing that you left to chance to weave life's warp and weft. For without a second glance, your concepts grew with massive heft. Your designing deft made motifs fab fly out to fabrics bold. In combo with your wife so spry, you made rich reams unfold. You scoured the rural areas to understand, to find, and give to women beauteous drapes, all one of a kind. But in your zest for living large is where your talent lay. You gave realty a real good shot with strategic foray. Your home too got its distinct touch, but it's your family you grew to instill values, creative spark from sons to grandsons too. Tea time at CCFC saw you make a more than perfect brew where your camaraderie pervaded with love of special hue. On the field and off it too, Kavin Kayan wallowed in your gamely play. Your anniversary with marigolds saw both in happy sway. You gave your bahus lots of rope to helm their special brand. Priyanka, Julie are the gems, your heritage they'll expand. While Kanishka gave us art so strong, he'll stay with us as soul. And Pratik, gallerist supreme, will responsibly steer new role. Nandita will be your supreme soulmate, carrying on creative show. with courage gleaned from you, with which she'll keep your dreams aglow. As for us, we'll always treasure your demeanor that spelt style, your joie de vivre and warming smile, and complete lack of guile. When 80th birthday came around, we hailed the pint-sized Dilip, the one who lived life king-size, which you did with so much fillip. Your banquets gelled, your travels swelled. You were number one, who now has found a golden path to go and stun the sun. This is with love from me and from Kishore, whom you might be sharing a drink with up there. He has preceded you. So go and enjoy, and we will never ever forget the wonderful human being that you have been to all of us.
Thank you, Ritamashi. And Kishore uncle and Papa are surely having that drink up there, cheering away to all of us. Thank you. My brother's friends have a different sort of memory of him. A unique memory that cannot be seen from anyone else's point of view, but from theirs, and theirs alone. After all, I wasn't even here when some of the relationships started. This was, after all, Kanishka's father, or Kona's father, as they would call him. One of Dada's oldest friend, Shandy, who Dada had many common interests with, is here, Shondip Guy. And I should tell you guys his real name also. Shandy is maybe a bit too casual, but Shandy will say a few words and maybe recount some earlier times with Papa.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm going to echo what Rita Mashi just said. The show that you've put on this evening is extraordinary. So many memories, and there are so many people watching it, and I've been reading the comments. I know that my friends from our childhood, Badsha, Orgho, Anju, Nani, they're all watching right now, right? So yes, I went to school with Konishko, Jishu, and then I went to college, and then we lived in Boston together, so we have many memories. So I'll keep it short. One of the things that we really liked when we lived in the US was when Mashi and Mesho used to come and visit, right? Because, for us it was, something like our own parents coming. And I used to go and I used to stay over at their house. So I had lost my father quite a while ago. He was a little older, and I had held that sadness inside of me. People grieve in different ways, and some people had said you should let it out. But I was in my 30s. I was proud. I was a man. And one night after we retired, I went and sat next to Uncle, and I just held him and I cried like a baby. But it was because I could let go of my feelings with him. I could show my vulnerability to him because he had seen life and he would understand, and he wouldn't say anything. He just held me and we said good night. But now I have to say something funny because we have to honor his spirit, right? So one of the things that Rishu said that he liked life's small joys. It's really true. He was so fun to be around because he was always entertaining himself and other people, right? And he had that face of a young boy. Even that picture next to Nandita Mashi now, just look at that face. And both Rishu and Jishu have gotten that face from their father, right? So I used to like to watch him. So at one time, they came over and they did a pujo in the house. In that small flat that Julie and Konishko had, they set up a full pujo in that meticulous way that whole family is, right? And all these American friends came over, and he was just having a great time. And I think you'll understand me when I say that nobody could speak like he did. It was a combination of Hindi, this slightly accented Bangla, and a completely wild English. And এই তিনটেকে মিশিয়ে he used to just say the funniest things. So I was watching him, and he was tying the shuto around someone and saying, "Oh, you have the hair like the Shiva," or "Oh, your wrist, this is a huge wrist. Are you a palwan?" He was going on and on. And at one point in the evening, I noticed that he was in the corner, and there were a lot of people. Mashi দাঁড়িয়ে ছিল, and someone had sort of cornered him and was going on for a long time. But he was going on with it. And একটু পরে আমার ডাক নাম শ্যান্ডি, but uncle used to call me Sandy. তো একটু পরে আমাকে ডাকলো, সান্ডি এদিকে আয়। So I went over, কি হয়েছে? এই ওয়ার্টনটা কী রে? I said, ওয়ার্টন? ও মানে বিজনেস স্কুল এমবি? হ্যাঁ, দ্য MBA। একটা ছেলে আমাকে এসে বলছে, সান্ডি আমার কাছে ওয়ার্টনের MBA আছে, হন্ডা কার আছে, দ্য কম্পিউটার সায়েন্সের জব আছে, একটা ফ্ল্যাট কিনবো, তুমি ক্যালকাটা থেকে আমার জন্যে একটা মেয়ে দেখে দিতে পারবে? তো one of the cousins just said a little while ago, he was very polite, right? He would never say anything to anyone. So he said, Sandy, আমি ওকে বললাম, আচ্ছা, but do you know what I want to say to him? I বলতে চেয়েছিলাম, বেটা, you have everything, but I cannot find a wife for you because you have the face of a donkey. Anyway, I hope that wasn't off color, but the point is, nobody else spoke like him, right? And nobody else designed like him, and we cannot, he was inimitable, and when you can't copy something, that's the real thing. And it's not with us today, but with Jishu and everyone else who's gone, who's left, he's there, and he's deep in our hearts. Thank you, everybody.
That was such a funny story. And I will always remember you recounting that story in your own way. And that's so amazing. Okay. So, my Papa would never have a dull moment in his life. I'm sure people you know him would know that. He would never like to be thought of in sadness or mourned. He loved to dance, and he loved to shake a leg, and he loved celebrations. Who better to celebrate him than his most special and closest friend, Usha Uthup? So, towards the end of the evening, we would now invite Usha Auntie to say a few words and lift his spirits like the way he is always.
So sad that I can't do it. I don't feel like a celebration at all. And I'm sure everybody feels the same way. They're putting up a brave front. Can you all hear me?
Yes, very clearly.
Da. I'm so sorry I can't really be in a celebratory mood because I can't. When I think of Nandita De's ringtone, Lambi Judai, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. It was that morning, it was my birthday, and we exchanged good messages as always with Nandita Di, and that was the day he got into hospital. And everybody has such beautiful things to say about him. We all echo the same thing. Everybody feels the same way about this man who just didn't have a mean bone in his body, who just could smile and light up a room, my goodness me, like nobody else could. Who could just make you feel so wanted when you walked into that CCFC morning, onto that table, and I would say, Dada, he'd be the first one to get up and I would run across to him and get a hug from him. So where have all those days gone? This nasty COVID
I never like to use the word hate, but I really hate that nasty corona, COVID, whatever. It's kept us all away for so long, for so long. And that table at CCFC and his hitting that tea pot with his spoon to call the person to fill it up with some more water. What's to happen of that table? What is to happen of all our friends on behalf of every friend that shared that table? It's not just me. Of course, I met him separately many, many moons ago in Kanishka when I went to get my Kolkata sari done. And so many wonderful memories of Kanishka and, the shop and everything. And everybody's talked about that, about truly he was a genius. I mean, rags to not riches, but rags to a great height that he rose to. I just can't tell you how I feel, but all of you will feel that way. All our friends at the table, every one of us, none of us want to celebrate. Yes, but we don't want to mourn. But it's terrible. It's awful, Dilip, without you, da. It's just awful without you. It's not been a single day that we haven't been thinking about you. Not a single day. And I cannot think of Nandita Di without you. That's true. But I can't think of any of us without you. But this is the truth of life. And though I had planned to say many more things, which would have been so smart but then, Dada, we all love you. I don't know why I have to be like this on behalf of all our friends at the table. We have to cry for you because you made us laugh. We enjoyed your laughter for so many years and so many mornings. The morning was never complete without coming to CCFC and that table and all of us sitting over there so happy. And Dilip Da sitting right in front of us. Dada making all the endless cups of tea. And we'll be looking out either for Tutulia or Sheila or Kuhu. Reena, of course, was there, and Kaviriti was there, and Rita was there. And there was so many people who just came in and went out, and so many wonderful, wonderful people on behalf of whom I'm saying that it's difficult, very difficult. We will always remember the good things that you did for all of us. As I said, not a mean bone in your body, not a mean bone. I don't see a single, I think I've got the maximum amount of singular photographs, of a person, like me. Who am I? Not a photographer or anything, just a friend. But I've taken so many photographs of the both of them together. So many, as I've done of so many people. But the thing that remains in my memory all the time was the last time I spoke to him when he was in the hospital. And he said, "Arey yaar." So you remember that. The way he would say, "Arey yaar, main jaldi aa jaunga. Yahan thodi hi na baithna hai mujhe. Jaldi aa jaunga main. Nikal gaya bas." That "arey yaar" is enough to just break anybody's heart. Anybody's heart. Dada, it's impossible to think of CCFC table, the morning time, without you. And I know I speak for everybody who's been at that table. Of course, all the men, I had written everything down, but I don't want to speak from there. All the names. Everybody at that table is going to miss you. And we will always miss you. As somebody who has clothed me with such beautiful designs that the whole world talks about, simply because, well, I happen to do so many shows. So whenever I'm there in an interview or in the mornings, when I'm doing an interview, a press conference or something, it's always a Kanishka sari that I'm wearing, whether I'm in Chennai and I'm doing Sen Tamil Nadu, I've been writing or in Ende Keralam or Bombay Meri Hai or in Urdu or whatever script, whatever, he would say, "Arey yaar, yahan chhod ke chale jao, main bana ke de deta hu." That "Arey yaar" is something so close to my heart, as is to everybody's. All of us just sitting over there. And, you know, it was like time just stopped when we were all together. And when we had to get up, I would always say, "Kyun jana?" And then soon it became a fashion to, not fashion, for everybody to leave because of the wretched traffic jam. Where have all those hugs gone? And when I started coming to the club like that, years now, the touch, the warmth of the body, the warmth of Dada that you got, it's just incomparable, incomparable. You could never get that feeling. And everybody in the club, I know they gave so much of strength having lost Kanishko. They gave so much strength to Reena and Sunil knowing that Tubu was on her way out. But as you say, Kanishka, Kishore, Kishorda, and you would be having tea, and I'm sure Tubu would be joining you too. It would be incomplete, isn't it? But all those fantastic conversation we can have and all those wonderful things we can put up. But what's deep in our heart, yes, you have to see our tears. Dada, you have to see how much we cried for you. Because without that, it's being selfish. It's not enough just for us to share your smiles. You've got to see us cry. You've got to see how Nanditadi is. You have to, and I'm sure you're seeing how your son is and your grandchildren and your daughters-in-law, how proudly they talk about you and all your friends. Without the morning, there is no evening. And the morning is where you filled us all with so much of happiness. So on behalf of everybody, I have a song. I actually have two. I'll sing this. Never thought I'd feel this way. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm glad I got the chance to say that I do believe I love you. And if I should ever go away, well then close your eyes and try to feel the way we do today. And then if you can remember, keep smiling, keep shining, knowing you can always count on me. For sure, that's what friends are for good times and bad times. I'll be on your side forevermore. That's what friends are for. Well, you came and opened me, and now there's so much I can see. And so by the way, I thank you. Oh, and then all the times when we're apart, well then close your eyes and know the words are coming from my heart. And then if you can remember, keep smiling, shining, knowing you can always count on me. For sure, that's what friends are for good times and bad times. I'll be on your side forevermore. That's what friends are for. Keep smiling, keep shining, knowing you can always count on me. For sure, that's what friends are for. All the good times and all the bad times, I'll be on your side forevermore. That's what friends are for. Keep smiling, keep shining, knowing you can always count on me. For sure, that's what friends are for. All the good times and all the bad times, I'll be on your side forevermore. That's what friends are for. Yes, that's what friends are for. Let me say that this is a man who always lived life king size and lived it on his own terms. Just believed in everything that he did, and he just had the courage to face every conviction. Having known him so deeply and so closely, both of them together, you know, they never made any excuses for anything in life, especially him. He just lived life the way he wanted to. And I think nobody ever imagined that a song like this would be sung for him, really. But truly, it's so justified when you say that he really did it his way. No compromises, but he gave and gave and gave. Some people are born givers, and he was one of them. So when I sing for him, my way, every word is specially for him. The end is near, and I must face the final curtain. My friends, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full, I've traveled each and every highway, but more, much more than this, I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do, and so it's through, without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step upon the byway, but more, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall. I I've laughed and cried, I've had my share, my fill of losing. And now, as tears subside, I find it oh so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, not me. I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he must not say all the things he really feels. And at the words of one who kneels, the record shows I took the blow. I did it my way. For Dilip Dada. Thank you so much. Thank you, Pratik. Yes. अरे यार प्रतीक आजा. No. One more.
Always one more. But always encores, always one more.
Love you, Nandita Di. Yes. Pratik, say something about what I said. Yeah. I'm sure everybody was crying because, you know, he really needs our tears as well. It's not enough.
It's not enough. Really. What can I say? There's nothing that really can encompass the loss that we all feel together.
No.
Nothing can get that.
But there is a song which I hoped that I could sing because this is a song, this is a song I shared with him so many years ago, because we were sitting, usually when I would get into the club, you know, I'd either say, Aja, Aja, main hu pyar tera, and he would come out the other way and say, ha ha ha, da da, ho, da da, I would say. And we'd have so much of fun. And, you know, the girls, our girl gang, you know, there was Sheila, Koyalia, Kuhu, and Tutulia, and sometimes Anu and Kaveri Dirina, all sitting over there. And everybody would join in and say, aha, ha, Aja, aha, Dilip, aha, da, da. And of course, Nandita Di in her swanky matching clothes in the morning, she'd get up and, you know, also we'd all do a little jig. And being with Dada was just so, you know, it was just so complete. And without, I mean, thank God, sometimes I say thank God for the lockdown days, because we have a reason not to go to the club. Because if we had to go there and not see Dada, at least we'll get used to it now for some time. But I remember, I don't remember for what reason actually. He asked me one day, "Are yaar, kitna maza." I'm sure all of you remember how he said, "Are yaar, bhool jao," you know. And all the drivers, all the stewards, all the people who would wait over there while he, you know, did this to the teapot and, you know, get some more water. Are yaar, jaldi pani leke aao na, you know. That remains in my mind forever. And he said to me so clearly that, you know, you just keep singing all these wonderful songs and everybody is so happy. इतने खुश बना देते हो सबको, सच्ची बहुत ही अच्छा लगता है. लेकिन मुझे बताइए कि दुख के कोई गाने ऐसे होते हैं कि you feel, you know, he said it so beautifully. And then I told him there was this wonderful song called Dukh Sukh Ki Har Ek Mala, कुदरत ने पिरोई है, हाथों की लकीरों पे ये जागती सोती है. And he couldn't get over that. He said, आप ऐसे भी गाने गाते हैं? I said, हाँ क्यों नहीं? अरे यार यहाँ तो कोई किसी की समझ में भी नहीं है। I said, आपने एकदम ठीक कहा. I said, because he never said anything rude or mean or anything, but his humor was so fantastic. He said, यार किसी के समझ में नहीं आएगी. साले सब अंग्रेजी लोग हैं इधर में. CCFC को अंग्रेजी क्लब बना दिया. Let us change it. Okay, so here's a song which he really loved very much. And I shared it with him and he loved the words. So I hope all of you will, as he would say, अरे यार कुछ समझ लो आप भी.
I'm sure.
दुख सुख की हर एक माला कुदरत ही पिरोती है. दुख सुख की हर एक माला कुदरत ही पिरोती है. हाथों की लकीरों में ये जागती सोती है. दुख सुख की हर एक माला कुदरत ही पिरोती है. यादों का सफर ये करे गुजरी बहारों में कभी आने वाले कल पे हंसे उड़ती नजारों में कभी एक हाथ में अंधियारा एक हाथ में ज्योति है. दुख सुख की हर एक माला कुदरत ही पिरोती है. सामना करे जो इसका किसमें ये दम है कहाँ. इसका खिलौना बन के हम सब जीते हैं यहाँ. जिस राह से हम गुजरे सामने होती है. दुख सुख की हर एक माला कुदरत ही पिरोती है. आहों के जनाजे दिल में आंखों में चिताएं गम की नींदें बन गई तिनका चली वो हवाएं गम की. इंसान के अंदर भी आंधी कोई होती है. दुख सुख की हर एक माला कुदरत ही पिरोती है. हाथों की लकीरों में ये जागती सोती है. दुख सुख की हर एक माला कुदरत ही पिरोती है. Yes. And that was for you, Dada. जी हाँ, आहों के जनाजे दिल में, आंखों में चिताए गम की, नींदें बन गई तिनका, चली वो हवाए गम की. That's so true. But Nandita Di, we're all there with you. We all love you so much. We will always be with you, no matter what happens. The way everybody has come together today, I can't say thank you more to Dada for giving us this amazing fellowship. And it's all because of him, a man who lived life so honestly and so pure. Badi lambi judai. I can't believe it, Nandita Di, that you would have had this. This ringtone keeps going on in my head. And this is such a lambi judai, such a finality about death, isn't it? And such a closure today. Such a closure for all of us. Thank you, Pratik, and thank you, Priyanka. Thank you, Julie, wherever you are, and the two darling children, and Nandita Di. And to all the speakers who spoke. But I wanted to say, love you always, Dada. अरे यार चलो ना भूल जाते हैं सब. A darling man.
Darling indeed. Thank you.
Darling man. That's all I can say. Darling Dada.
Thank you. I'm going to also ask Julie to come on video, and maybe we can all thank everybody as a family. Thank you, Usha.
Do you want me to put it off? So I'm going to put it off, or can I see your lovely faces?
You can see our lovely faces even if you put it off.
Okay, let me just see. Oh, okay. No, why should you say thank you? अरे यार, thank you सब भूल जाना.
তোমাদের দাদা ফিজিক্যালি নেই, কিন্তু সবার সঙ্গে দাদা আছে, এবং জেনে রেখো দাদা আমাকে তোমাদের কাছে দিয়ে গেছে. তোমরা আমাকে সবাই দেখবে নিশ্চয়ই, তোমরা আমার সাথে আছো. আমি আমাকে দাদা যে আমার তোমাদের দাদা যে আমার সাথে নেই, সেই ফিলিংটা যেন আমার না হয়, আমি সে আশা করছি এবং তোমরা করবে আমি জানি. তোমরা সবাই আমার সাথে আছো. থ্যাংক ইউ কাউকে বলবো না, থ্যাংক ইউ কাউকে বলবো না. সবাই ভালো থেকো, সবাই ভালো থেকো প্লিজ. একটাই কথা আমার.
I would also like to thank everyone for their beautiful stories, for all their memories, and it was an extremely healing and helpful event today. I think we'll all continue to share our stories with each other, to tell the little jokes and recall moments that we spent time with Papaji. I think we're all incredibly lucky to have had such a beautiful man in our life. And my grandmother always reminded me that the more pain you feel is equivalent to the great love you had. So we're all we're in deep pain, but we're all very lucky.
That's right. And like Julie said, to honor a man like him is to live like him. If you have to live like him, you have to live in joy. And we will try.
Yeah. On that note, thank you everyone who joined us this evening. We know we couldn't be with you together and you couldn't be with us, but we know that you have us in our mind, in your minds, in your hearts. And we really, really appreciate what you meant for him and what he meant for everybody who's here. Thank you so much. Have a good evening, and please, please take care of yourselves. Love you all. Good night.
Good night, everybody.